Alright y'all, I'm gonna start this video off by sectioning off the top. We want to establish what's gonna sit on top from what's gonna sit on the side. And in this cut, normally I would start with like black graduation around the ridge and give myself a nice foundation to do scissor work on top of, and then to blend into on the sides. But in this cut, I'm pretty sure this day I was trying to squeeze this kit in, so we had to get it done a lot faster than that. So we're going through the whole thing with a number 2, debulking everything, and everything that's hanging over is just gonna get cut off with clipper over comb. And we're still keeping that square shape on the side. It's just gonna be a little tighter. I'm dropping it in the back so that it covers the occipital bone. It doesn't make his head shape look weird. And now we can get right into the fade. So that first part right there, debulking all that hair, getting started, took me 5 minutes. And now I can get started with the fade part of the cut. So we did our first guideline with the clipper closed, and then our first panel is gonna be with the blade open. And we're gonna work our clipper notch by notch until the fade is done in that panel. That shouldn't take you a long time. I mean, with the Rebel, like, you can just literally use the notches. And I think by notch 3, you should be blended. So right here, we did the number 1 guard open, and then we closed it up. And this is gonna be the half guard. Rarely will I start with the half guard all the way open. I always probably do it like 1 notch open maybe, and then I'll work my way up the panel again until it's blended out. Now here I'm coming back down with the blade open so that I can kind of detail that bottom bit and just worry about blending in dark to light after that. Because once the light part of the fade at the bottom, once that's fluid, the rest of your blend really takes place right here where I'm at in the middle. This 1.5 that blends right into the number 2 that we did originally to debulk, and then the number 1 open, the number 1 closed, and back down to the half guard. Most of the actual blend is in this area. See how that line is just disappearing, and now we have a fade? After that, it's just detail work. But if you follow the system, you get a consistent result if you consistently follow the system. And right here, I'm doing the same thing on the other side. I just sped it up. I didn't realize it was that fast though, but it's the same steps though. Exact same steps. So see if you can guess what I'm doing next. And you see how nicely that hair is sitting on top, like it's just waiting to be cut. I know a lot of times when clients with longer hair come in, the tendency might be, especially if you're not used to working with a lot of hair on top, the tendency might be to just kind of throw it up. But you want to be as neat as possible when you do that, because it's going to help you in the long run. It's gonna help you stay clean and organized. You're not gonna have to worry about hair falling all over. That's why understanding the head shape, that's why understanding hair growth patterns and, you know, the way the cowlick is going and stuff like that, that's understanding that stuff is really important, because you're able to just kind of zip through a fade and then still come out with a result that is gonna grow out nicely. that's not, you know, a crown killer, that's still giving him a nice shape in the back, but tight on the side, like in this one, you know. Understanding that stuff is important, and then you can go and improvise after. Look at his dad in the background, in the left corner. You see his fade? I did his fade too. That thing looked blurry from all the way over here. Let's go. Let's go. I'm doing the same steps as I did on the side that I'm doing in the back. And you guys know I like to do the 3-step or like the 3, you know, kind of sides, left side, right side, and then the back, just because it helps me to focus on one thing at a time. If I was fading all around his head, I would be lost. I'd be totally lost. Plus, I feel like it would take forever. And you see I left all that hair at the bottom for last because it helps me while I'm actually doing the fade. It kind of gives contrast. You got the dark up top and then you got the dark at the bottom. So you really able to see the gradients in between and like where your fade is at, where are some dark spots that need to come out, stuff like that. Right here, I am hitting my man with the shaver. I love this Andis shaver, man. I feel like it cuts the closest. I don't even think the Fabulous shaver cuts the closest. Cuts closer than this one. Now here I'm gonna line my man up. I like to get everything that I'm gonna get done with the clipper or the trimmer done first before I get to the top. I want the top to be, if I'm not cutting the top first, I want the top to be the very last thing that I do. I don't want to cut the top and then have to go back and line him up. Let's keep it, while it's pinned up, let's keep it pinned up. And you see, I just brushed down the baby hair, and I'm just kind of lightly lining him up. Not really trying to push him back. I'm just touching like the skin. I'm giving him like a ghost line almost, especially in the front right there, like in the middle of his head. That's baby hair, but it gives symmetry. So right here, I'm going to start cutting the top by splitting it in half and kind of setting the length that I wanted to reach on the side, because I want the top to blend into the back. It's cool if it's disconnected on the side. It's gonna work with the look that we go for. But I want it to blend in towards the back so it's not hanging over kind of like a mushroom. And then the length that blends in towards the back kind of has to slope toward the front. So we did the same thing on one side and then we did that on one side and did the same thing to the other side. And there was a lot more hair on the other side that needed to be cut because he was coming from a comb over. So I didn't cut the comb over, but you know. So yeah, we cut all that on the side. Now we're bringing it together, making sure it meets in the middle. So now our length on the side of the haircut is pretty much done. Really all we have to do now is go down like the middle of the head with it, which is what I'm gonna do right here. So you can see how there's the short bit on the side, and there's gonna be the long bit in the middle. That's what we're cutting. Because when we pulled everything to the side, we cut the length of that short bit. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting everything pretty straight across, but I'm point cutting, so it's giving the ends a little bit of texture at the same time. It's not like such blunt lines. I don't really like how that looks when you cut it bluntly. That's just my personal preference, but we're just following that guide from the back, which is the same guide that we set when we pulled everything to the sides. And that's what we're using to cut this entire top. Now what I did was I combed everything to the right, and I'm taking my scissors and I'm just lightly slicing through. I'm not really closing the blade all the way. I'm just closing it just a little bit. I comb it to the left side and do the exact same thing, and this is gonna break up that thick hair and give it some texture. And one of my favorite texturizing techniques is the razor. You can't do this on everybody. Somebody with thin hair, if you do this, they'll look bald. But somebody with really thick hair like this kid, like, I'm gonna use the razor and I'm really gonna thin his hair out, take off some layers. You see how I'm moving it to the side and then coming, getting what's underneath it? Like, oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And the same thing with the fringe. I'm really like hitting it with the razor, kind of like basically thinning those hairs, those really thick hairs in the front out. And now I'm gonna blast it with some heat. I like to blow dry with just my hands, you know, unless it's like a pompadour or something where I really need to mold it, then I'll use a brush. But most of the time I'll blow dry with my hands, and any type of styling can kind of be done later. So I think it's just a much faster way. And this is just some powder that we are selling in the shop. We took the label off so the clients couldn't see what the name on it was and then go buy it on Amazon. But I'm just using that powder to kind of bring out the texture in his hair. You can see like right there in the back, it's looking crazy. So I gotta get the rest of it like that. And right here, I just noticed the front was just a little too long. It wasn't sitting right with the rest of the haircut. You can see how like the fade kind of flows into the front, which is the same direction as how when we pulled all that hair, was when we split it down the middle, that's the same direction my fingers were going. So everything was just consistently moving the same way. But this is the before, y'all. My man looked like he ain't had a cut in like 4 months, so we had to get him together. Check out the after, man. If you guys like this haircut, hit subscribe, smash the like button, please. It helps out the channel. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.